top. You are watching the NFL Wildcard Weekend preview for 2021. Sunday game, Rashad. We got New Orleans versus the Chicago Bears. Interesting matchup. The Saints are favored by 10. That line jumped from 9.5 to 10. Over under at 47. Interesting game to me because the Saints in the last few years, we know what happened when they played the Rams, right? With the no call,
right?
They did get robbed, right? But they still lost the football game.
In overtime.
And they still had a chance to win the game.
In overtime.
Exactly. And then Minnesota goes into New Orleans last year and upsets the Saints. Football is a game of physicality, but there is a psychological factor associated with this game. And to me, I still think the Saints, as talented as they are, that defense is dominant. I just think that there's a hangover with them when it comes to the postseason. I like the Saints to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like them to cover the 10-point spread. I think this game is going to be tighter than many people believe. Chicago Bears were on a roll until they met up with Mr. Aaron Rodgers, who lit up that defense. But the Bears, you know, they've got Khalil Mack. They've got some players on the defensive side of the ball.
I agree.
Where if they can get to Drew Brees, and rattle him and even, stop Taysom Hill from doing what he does with those gadget plays, I think the Bears have a shot to stay in the game. They're not going to win the football game, in my opinion, but I think they can compete with the Saints. And the wild card is Alvin Kamara, who's been on the COVID-19 protocol. He may not play this game.
Right.
And if Alvin Kamara doesn't play for the Saints, I think the Bears can actually upset the Saints.
Wow.
Because he's that big of a component with their offense. Michael Thomas has an injured ankle. He hasn't played in the last 3 weeks. We don't know if he's going to be playing on Sunday.
And I agree. And here's my thing with the Saints, Matt. All I heard last year was the Packers were the worst 13-3 team ever, right? They get to the playoffs. Saints get to the playoffs. They were 13-3. They lose in the first round. Packers beat Seattle. They get to the NFC Championship and get the doors blown off of them. So who was the worst 13-3 team last year?
Right.
It was the Saints. So fast forward now, the Saints are 12-4.
Right.
Another opponent coming in from the NFC North. Another opponent from the NFC North in the playoffs. What do the Saints do? Do they finally get over the hump, beat the teams they supposed to beat, handily beat them, and get to the next stage of the playoffs? So my thing is with the Saints, as great as that defense is, Drew Brees, in my opinion, we always say Father Time is undefeated, right? We always say that. His talent has fallen off a cliff to me.
Right.
He only can throw 15 to 20 yards. And he is Mr. Checkdown, in my opinion.
Right.
Mr. Checkdown. And if you can get to Breeze, you can rattle that entire operation offensively. So I'm still taking the Saints to beat the Bears, but do not sleep on this Bears front seven. This Bears front seven is still legit. Despite them losing to the Packers twice and getting hung 40 plus on them, I still take the Saints to win this game, but I wouldn't be so cautious to sleep on that Bears front.
Well, in all honesty, I think the Saints are in trouble. If Alvin Kamara doesn't play and Michael Thomas doesn't play, I think the Saints are in trouble. And there ain't going to be no Saints marching in. I think they're going to be marching out. So David Montgomery on the offensive side of the ball for the Bears, 8 touchdowns this year, over 1,000 yards rushing. Don't sleep on the Bears' ground game. If Trubisky can play mistake-free football, he passed for 2,000 yards this year. He obviously was benched for a period of time, but he's got the Bears rolling a little bit. I think they got some momentum coming into the game. I still like the Saints to win, but it's a big but. It depends on if Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas are playing.
And you're right. And now, if Trubisky can do something with his legs, we saw Jalen Hurts destroy the Saints with his legs. So if Trubisky can do something with his legs, and possibly Montgomery can get that run game going, they can make this a tight game. They can definitely make this a tight game.
I think we both agree. We like the Bears with the points. I personally think this game's going to stay under with that Bears defense and that Saints defense as well.
Right, I agree. I take the Saints to win this game as well, and I take the Bears to cover though.